Here we are with another Friday Night Live, May 18th, 2023. It's Divine Nine Day, the 18th. We had a beautiful sunny day today. It just started raining a couple hours ago. Yeah, and for some rain, we haven't had rain in a while after a really wet April and the beginning of May. The end of April was, but it's all well. Had some cool night last night. Went down to 2 degrees again, 3 degrees Celsius, close to the freezing point. And we embrace that cold. You know, the cold at this time of the year, like 2 degrees this time of the year, does not feel like 2 degrees in the winter for some reason. It's much colder in the winter, even though it's the same temperature when you measure it. It's interesting how, you know, our bodies go through these changes when the season changes, you know. When we move into the spring, it's very easy for the body to get used to the warmth. You know, spring, summer. We move into the fall, it's a little more difficult than moving into the winter. And it takes some time for the body to get used to that cold. If you're not living or have never lived in a cold climate, then you won't know what we're talking about. But it's all beautiful. You know, just embrace what Mother Nature or with the programs that they punch in and throw at us. Is anybody out there? We see some really strange things happening the last few years, and you know, it's pretty sad to watch what's going on continuously from those effects of people's decision and choices of what they, you know, put into themselves. You know, I see it as all the ones involved, you know, the doctors, the nurses that were all accomplices to the mass genocide that's going on. We just pray. We just pray for some divine intervention because it's continuously going on. Nothing's changed. Those effects are that assault to the physicality is not something that is going to be able to go away so easily. It's surprising that some people seems like nothing phases them, but then all of a sudden, you know, and others they get affected right away. But you know, just pray for everybody, and hopefully all those will be held accountable for all this mass slaughter that's going on. You know, people are just dropping left, right, and center everywhere. Pilots, athletes, everyday people, lots of young people, and sad, very, very sad to watch all this going on. And there's a solution. We have a solution to clean out all that caca. It's not something that's going to be able to clean out easily. It's going to take determination, consistent persistency, and you know, you have to dedicate yourself to wanting to do that. But we do have the solutions in the MFS realm. Everything's possible. We've seen everything's possible. The body's capable of purging anything that's foreign. It's going to take the time it takes, and just have to keep going. You have to live it. You have to love it. Embrace the lifestyle, and allow it to do its purging. Is it going to be fun? Probably not. There might be some healing reactions happening, and we embrace them with a blessing. Every time there's a healing reaction, we always come out stronger. Always come out stronger, because the body catapults itself into a different state when we move out the interferences of all these obstructions that are not supposed to be in the physical, mental, and emotional. They're all intertwined and patched into the physicality in the obstructions. It's very interesting the way our Creator designed us. It's beautiful. We have a way out of pretty much anything. Everything's possible. Everything and anything's possible, and there's always a way out. iPhone, how you doing? No name on your Zoom account. If anybody's got any questions, now's a good time. We're getting less than a couple of weeks away for June, the summer solstice. Summer solstice is around the corner, and we know what to do, right? Season changes. We do our season change dry. Hello, I thought I heard something there.
Hi, it's Barbara. Hi, Gino.
Oh, hey, Barbara.
Happy Friday. Shabbat Shalom. Hey.
How you keeping?
Good, good. I'm
Excellent.
lucky. I have good friends.
Excellent.
And being in Florida, knowing like when the fresh produce becomes available, that's lucky.
Hard to come by good friends these days, boy. Oh, there's a bunch of us that we all grew up together, that we've known each other, 40, 50 years, some of it. And, we can call each other up anytime, no problem. So we see each other, occasionally here and there. And it's a unique bunch that we have, that we all grew up in the same area. So you don't see a lot of that anymore. These days, how do children grow up? They grow up on their phones.
Yeah, we moved around a lot when I was growing up, so I didn't really have a chance to do that. But
oh, you moved around a lot, eh?
Mhm.
Yeah, well, we stayed in the same home for many, many, many years until I was what age did I leave? 20. When I got married the first time, was it 25, 26, I think it was. I can't remember. So that's I was there since 1 year old in that home. It's a long time. My brother still lives in that home that we grew up in.
That's nice. My parents, they were excited about being, the new Americans, in the United States, joining the melting pot. And it was moving outside of their comfort zones, outside of their cultures. And it was interesting. It was kind of beautiful that they did that, I thought. But
Where did you guys come from?
my mom was born in Poland. She was, or Germany, depending on who I'm talking to. But right there, right wherever that border is.
Huh?
And my dad was born in New York.
Oh, okay.
But his family, his mom came from Romania and his dad from Russia. Is
Huh?
what we were told. But my daughter went and she had her what is it, 23andMe or 24? She went and they told her she didn't have any Russian in her. So we're wondering, did they exchange babies?
DNA test?
Yeah.
Oh, hmm.
And that's where her grandpa, supposedly his father, came from. It didn't show up in her DNA test.
Well, he could have moved into the area, right?
Hmm.
From somewhere else, but yeah. Yeah, interesting. I did my DNA to see just to see what's in there.
Hmm.
Pretty interesting how we are. If those they're supposed to be pretty accurate, but we were believed we were from one area, and you have different uh, strains of DNA from all over.
Uh-huh. You had surprises. Yeah.
Yeah, I got some Greek, I got Arabic in there,
Hmm.
Spanish, Portuguese. Majority is Italian, but Southern Italy, there's all that mixed in there. Because uh, they had many different invasions over the thousands of years.
Hmm.
Like if you like go in Sicily, they speak the Italian that they speak. I can barely understand it. It's because it's got like Arabic in there and
Mm.
words and mixed up, and it's a completely different language. Like it's when you're traveling through Italy from the south going north. I remember driving up all the way north from Rome. Every gas station is like a different language, right? Different dialects.
Uh-huh.
So,
I wish I could. I heard the word for people that like they love languages. They love learning new languages. It's something like a polycrat. Poly starts with poly, and and they'll know like 14 languages at a time. I wish I could do that because I know with each language there's a different psychology. You know, there's a different way of observing and interacting with life, and it would be so great to know them all and be able to pick the best of the best.
yeah, I have a friend that I met in Italy in our hometown there, and he's had 12 languages. Like I met him, when was it, in 2013, 14, and back then he knew like 5, 6 languages, and from that time till now he learned another 6 languages or so. So
Hmm.
it's pretty interesting. He's always traveling, and he speaks them very well. He speaks them almost fluently, all the languages. I'm going, holy geez! Like some people, it comes very easily. For myself, I
Yeah.
was in Venezuela for 2 winters. We spent like 2.5 months first time, 3 months second time, and I was picking up the Spanish. There's a lot of similarities to Italian, but there's a lot of differences too. I was picking it up and I was able to understand, but and after the second year especially. But now I can't remember anything. If you don't,
Mm.
you lose it. It's just like fasting. If you don't live it, you can't love it. So you need to keep you
Mhm.
need to keep it
Yeah.
as a practice, as a lifestyle,
Yes. Uh-huh.
and keep the energy of that flowing. But I'm not even great with English, which is my first language. Well, I don't know if I could call my first. I guess my parents' dialect would be actually the first in the first couple of years until I started
Uh-huh.
going to school, I guess. Um, but yeah,
I want to learn sign language because my friends who have that as their language because of being born deaf, they seem to laugh very easily And I was told it's more intimate, that you're communicating on deeper levels when you have to use your eyes to see what the person's saying.
Yeah, it's interesting. Right. Is it international, the sign language? Do you know?
I think it's different. I think there's different
Oh,
dialects
there is for different
in
languages,
different
really?
countries. Yeah.
Wow. So you have to find, you have to know all the different languages in sign language. Yeah, that's interesting. Sign language. Hmm. And then there's telepathy. Hmm.
Hmm.
Italians are using sign language all the time.
Remember, my best friend and I were so excited because we thought we had a lot of telepathic communication going between the two of us. And in the morning, we were so excited to tell my parents at the breakfast table, like, Penny and I, we can communicate telepathically. And they were like, okay, show us. And all of a sudden, we didn't have the magic that we'd had the night before. Like, what animal am I thinking of? And the other one would know it, what flower. And it was very amazing to the two of us how we
Right.
were communicating that way, but we couldn't show anyone.
Hmm.
Yeah, we couldn't do it on command.
You know, the mother has a lot of they automatically are using telepathy, when they have children,
Hmm.
right? It's happening. They,
Yeah.
that information is going back and forth continuously
Uh-huh.
from when they're babies in the womb, uh, from inception. So it's
And my mom told me that the Aboriginal people, like if somebody is gets hurt in the woods, it's like they'll know it. They have an understanding that they can understand each other like that.
right.
Mm. But
Beautiful. Nothing like telepathy. I think there with telepathy, there's no misunderstanding there because there's that automatic knowing when the information is transferred. It's not
mhm.
like English or any other language where depending who's listening, it can be interpreted a gazillion ways.
Like Temple Grayson and another friend of mine who seems to be up there, Asperger, that part of the autistic spectrum, they say they don't think in words. They believe other people think in words, but they think in pictures.
Oh yeah, that's probably true because yeah, they completely think in a whole different way. People that have autism, right? Because I know because my cousin is autistic, and
Mhm.
everybody that has autistic children, they say very similar things of how they do things and respond and so on and so forth. It's very interesting. Like for instance,
Mhm.
they all have the sensitivities to textures of food,
Yes.
right? And they have to do things in a certain order every day. If you disturb that, it throws them off. Like my cousin has to, when he shuts the TV off, he puts it on channel 24, which is a news channel. And if
Uh-huh.
his mother shuts the TV off, he will go downstairs, turn it on, put it on channel 24 and turn it off. It
Okay.
has to
Uh-huh.
be on channel 24 when it's off. And just things like that, right? They have to have certain orders and everything. And
Uh-huh.
to get them to change, it's not simple because that's the way they're programmed, and it has that's the way they have to do it. Like it completely throws them off if you try and change it. But it's interesting, very interesting. Um,
I, I got to be a teacher before for elementary school children that were more profoundly autistic, not,
mhm.
not the super high functioning. And the problem was there was one little boy, and I was told he was probably going to be an institution most of his life, and he had just so afraid, and he could get violent really easy. So I started paying a lot of attention to him, wanting to see him not have to go to an institution, but be able to come out and be able to communicate and enjoy life. And the problem was the other children in the class, seeing him getting all the attention, started adopting some of his behaviors,
Oh,
knocking things over, and yeah, so that kind of backfired on us a little bit.
was he on meds? Do you remember?
Yeah, most of these kids they had on meds.
That's where this all this anger and stuff usually comes from, the medication or their diets, and or their diets.
I believe that.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
you can get that part out of them very easily. You just get them off all that crap and clean up
Uh-huh.
diets, and all that aggression and stuff will go away. Uh, it's very easy.
And we should do it while they're young because my daughter had a boyfriend and she was trying to figure out how, he would just become violent. And then she found out that when he was 5 years old, they started putting him on different medications, on Ritalin and meds like that. So, yeah, so she and he totally believed that those behaviors were coming from his growing up on all these pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, people believe in the pharmaceuticals still today with what happened, especially in the last 3 years. People still believe in pharmaceuticals. It just boggles the mind how how uh, people can't see the truth in plain sight. It's it's
Mhm.
crazy times. But yeah, this is where we're at, and we're going to get well what we deserve in this realm. It's interesting times. Let's see what comes next. It's
Yeah.
we have
Take
to elevate, 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 and uh, pray for some divine intervention to make some changes in people's hearts. It's
And then when you're there, when you're understanding, like, how easy it is to reach out to each other and love each other and work together, it seems so easy, right? It seems like, "Oh, this is simple, and this is wonderful," and then for me, I'll lose it again, you know? But
mm,
I remember, yeah, when I'm so grateful to you, Gino, because 'cause you're holding on to something that you know and you believe, and I'm really glad that you're there.
you're welcome. Well, we don't see a lot of discipline, dedication, anymore in the new generations, and nothing's going to happen without discipline, dedication, and you have to believe in something. Otherwise, what are we doing here?
Mhm,
Um, all the uh, longest living blue zone people, they have a very strong belief in God. All of them.
mhm,
He's the longest living people. That's one of the main things. They have strong family ties. It's another thing, right? It's not all
mhm,
about food. So um, even which people, for whatever reason, they don't believe in it, that you can fake it. If they fake that they believe in God, for whatever reason that they don't, they're going to come out better at the end. Um,
uh-huh. Like laughing, like, even if you're kind of making yourself laugh,
yeah,
it touches inside you, yeah.
physicality doesn't know any different. What was that story about? I was reading two atheists' parents. Oh yeah, I don't know if I shared it in the group. They had a daughter, I think it was, and at 8 years old, she had visions of Christ, and she started making paintings. And
Mhm,
uh, the parents never talked to her or taught her anything about God or anything. And they asked her, the child, you know, how did this happen? Who taught you? She goes, well, my parents didn't teach me any of this stuff. God just came to me. And it's just like,
Uh-huh.
it's amazing, amazing stuff. And there's a lot of this happening out there. Um, I wish we could see a lot more of that instead of what we've been seeing the last 3 years, especially. But times will turn around. I have faith, and how much more damage is going to happen, I don't know. Time will tell. But
I like the story of the little girl, and the teacher comes up and says, "Oh, what are you drawing a picture of?" And the girl says, "I'm drawing a picture of God." And the teacher says, "Well, nobody knows what God looks like." And the little girl says, "They will in a second." Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Children are so bright. Uh, We have to give them more credit.
Yeah.
We should listen more
Yeah.
to the youngsters instead of trying to force our belief system and our
Uh-huh.
programs on them.
Uh-huh.
Like when how many children are brought up with being afraid of the dark, and why is that? It's
Yeah.
something that was programmed in from the parents. Oh, it's dark now. Be careful, whatever.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
look how beautiful. It's dark now. And look at the stars. And again, not putting any fear into that, or whatever.
Supposedly we do that in the Western world, but in the Eastern world, they'll see dark as very fertile, creative, fertile space
As
rather
fertile,
than
you said?
scary. Yeah, that's more of an Eastern concept.
Hmm.
Is that like going to a cave or something? They'll see that as creative. It's a
Right.
fertile place.
Interesting. So what have you been up to, Barbara?
Today I got to walk to a yoga class, and I got to see people encouraging each other, and that was beautiful. Comforting each other and feeling at home with each other in nature.
Nice.
That was in a park around here. And then doing laughter yoga. We do that right now by Zoom on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time for about 20 minutes. And I love that because I'll try to come up with an intention for the day. Um, and we'll do a lot of, I'm learning a lot of the, what's it called? It starts with an M, I believe, but it's kind of where you start for yourself and you go, I want to be happy, and I want to be well, and I want to be safe, and I want to be peaceful and at ease. And you'll do that 3 times. And then you'll say it for the people that you love. And then you'll say it for the people that you've had a hard time with. You've given you a hard time. You want to see them being able to be happy and well and safe and peaceful and at ease. And this is something on one of the clubhouses on our phones and our computers that more and more people are sharing with each other and with their children. And I think that's really nice. And then the Ho'oponopono, where I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you.
Mhm.
Supposedly the prayer that comes from Hawaii,
Yep.
and we'll be doing tapping that into our bodies. And I think the more we can just be like fun, and if people can see people laughing together and teasing and having fun together, I that goes a long way to comfort many people. Just see people being able to play like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where I know in the Great Depression they talked about some place where people were having fun and being creative together. And so all these people said, hey, nothing's happening where we are. Everyone's just like depressed. So let's go over where they are. And I thought that was great. That was the time people didn't have anything. They didn't have anything to lose. So they wanted to go over to where people were laughing and playing and having fun.
Yeah,
Because
there
it
was,
doesn't, yeah, it doesn't
was
take money for that.
no. There was a farmer in somewhere in Europe, I think. He because of the rising costs of milk and so on and so forth. They heard about a test that they were doing in Russia on cows with virtual reality goggles. So
Ah,
he tried it. They put in the goggles. They put that the cow was roaming luscious greenery pastures, and the
ah,
cows produced like 20% more milk or something because they believed they were grazing in the pasture.
oh man, yeah.
It's everything's energy. It's all about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you tap into that plaf and everything's possible. We've seen it. We've seen it with so many.
Yes.
But we got the season change is coming up. Focus on that longer dry because everything happens in the dry.
Mm-hmm.
When you're flying dry, it's where all the magic happens. And that's what we support. That's what we support in this realm of a massive fast, and it's a glorified dry fast that we are emphasizing and the whole lifestyle around. So everything we do supports that, and it's just beautiful once people grasp that and make it part of their life.
And that's in June. That becomes summer.
Yeah, all the season
Mm-hmm.
changes. Every season
Mm-hmm.
we go for as long as we can, depending where we're at. For newbies,
Yes.
3 to 5 days. For anybody who's been doing this for a few years, it should be
Uh-huh.
getting into the 5, 7 days, 9 days. Uh, very easily if you're living it. If you're not living the lifestyle, you're not going to be able to do these longer drives. It's just not going to happen. It's just going to be too harsh on the physicality and emotions.
Uh-huh.
We need to be in a light obstruction-free state to be able to drive fast. You can't drive fast long if you're all plugged up. It's just not going to happen. It's going to be very uncomfortable and of course could be very dangerous doing that. But people will do what they do, and it is what it is.
We'll figure it out, get ourselves there. I watch how some of the best expressions get spread through different cultures, through different teachings. And you'll say, oh man, they took that from the Buddhist practice, or oh, they took that from Anthony Robbins. And about playing full out, or full in. God, I heard a Christian teacher, talking about doing that. It was interesting to see how we really are creating a language that is going to benefit everybody, taking from different cultures.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Anybody out there have any questions, or we can call it a night? There's it's always a slice, beautiful time to have people join in, and we keep sending out laugh as people need it more than ever now.
Can you say anything about like teeth and bones, like repairing themselves or healing? What
Yeah,
needs?
teeth is one of the biggest challenges for some people. It's like we've seen, breatharians can grow a complete new set of teeth when they
Uh-huh.
stopped eating. Not First they stopped eating, and then the teeth didn't replace themselves until they stopped drinking. That was what's his name again?
Uh-huh.
Can't remember his name. There's a video he shares from Argentina, and once he stopped drinking, he had severe pain in his jaw. He didn't know what it was. Went to get X-rays, and the dentist couldn't believe there was a third set of teeth growing in.
Jeez.
So he went through severe pain for, I think it was like 7 or 9 months, until the new teeth came in. The old ones fell out, and they came in perfect. And he
Uh,
wore glasses and threw away his glasses. His eyes reset perfectly from going up from nothingness, from the energies of Plath, from
uh-huh.
the divine creator. So, when you see stuff like this happening, you see people that are paralyzed, regenerating nerves. If you don't want to believe that we can, regenerate teeth and bones, that's your belief system, because it's happening. And it has happened. We've seen all kinds of things being regenerated. We've seen people born with crooked bones straighten out. How does that happen? We don't need to know who, what, where, when, how, or why. All we need to know is what do we need to do to get the body in a state where it can do that? And what that is the fasting state. That's
Uh-huh.
fasting in particular is where everything happens, as we've mentioned earlier. So the reason these things can happen is when we purge out the obstructions that are interfering with the body able to regenerate and heal back to blueprint. It's just obstructions. There's obstructions in the physical, there's obstructions in the mental and the emotion. We'll only talk about those three, but there's all kinds of zones. So once we can purge those obstructions that are interfering with the energy flow, then the energy is restored, the flow, and the things regenerate, and they correct themselves. It's that simple. It all comes through the divine. We don't do anything. We don't have to do anything. We just have to allow. And that's the
Uh-huh.
beauty of it. When you look at all the science stuff, and you need this vitamin and that mineral and that amino acid and so much of this and so much. It's all nonsense to me. After all these years, I just see it. The more I see this stuff, the more nonsense I see for what it is. Nobody can understand all this stuff. There's infinite of everything intertwined. The universe is so massive and continuously growing. How can we understand all that in this realm through our mind and through our languages and so on and so forth? It's a bunch of nonsense. We can't understand any of it. We have a little bit of understanding, maybe, of a little bit here and there, but it's just too vast to truly understand, what are the body's needs and this and that. This is all theory that we need so many minerals, vitamins, and the body can create all that stuff without anything, from nothing, from the nothingness, which is our access to our divine creator's Plath, which is always flowing, and we just need to tap into that. So when we are ready to allow that and trust that, and just be and let it happen, and use the tools to get us through the difficult situations, the difficult times of healing reactions, everything happens. It just does. We've seen it so many times. So teeth is a big challenge in our generations, in the modern times, because if you look at all the fossilized skulls of humans from the past, they all had perfect teeth. So what happened?
Yeah.
Within the last maybe 100 years or so, or maybe more than that, the teeth started going really bad. It's processing foods, cultivating and hybridizing and chemicals, and that's what happened. And going further and further away from our natural diets. That's what happened.
Uh-huh.
We're bringing in all these obstructions, which interferes with these energy flows. And that's why we have problems with with their teeth, with their liver, with their kidneys,
Mhm.
bowels, with our hair, with our eyesight. It's all modern stuff that is causing all this, and it's very, 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 very challenging and difficult for modern mankind to let go of all the things that are causing all this pain and suffering. It just is. I've been at this 30-something years. It's just most people aren't willing to give up the things that are giving them all the challenges in their life. They're just not. And I put myself in that category as well, because we all have those challenges. None of us are perfect, and we need to decide to which direction do we want to go? Do we want to stay in the direction of imbalance, or do we want to change and move in the direction of balance? And are we going to fall off the wagon here and there? Yeah, but we get up and we continue on in that direction no matter what. And that's what needs to happen. We need to, if we want to move in the direction of balance, we need to make changes. We need to let go of the things that cause these challenges in our life. And a lot of these things are extremely addictive,
Yeah.
Very difficult for some people to give up. And then we have the social influences, partners, family members, co-workers and friends, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be, and there has to be some effort and some willingness to want to change. That's all it has to be. You have to have that deep desire to change. I'm tired of this pain and suffering, misery, pain and suffering. I'm tired of it. I'm making the changes no matter what. I'm going to do it and make it happen. And whatever challenges you run into, it doesn't matter. You keep going, right?
Right.
So the teeth, we have a lot of tools. We've discussed many, many times about teeth. Just chewing wheatgrass or barley grass or wild grass. Just grabbing some every day and just chewing it and spitting it out. You can drinking grasses helps some people. Chewing what's a horsetail, the herb horsetail, and or making teas with it, and or grinding it up and taking it internally. There's many other herbs. But horsetail is silica. Silica is very important in bone structure. Not calcium. Silica is a very important element from what we understand. All the tests that I've seen over the many years of people doing research, they've shown silica builds way stronger bones and teeth than calcium, right? Because everything goes through transmutation, right? Taking in calcium, the body cannot make great calcium. The body can make great calcium from silica. The body can make even better calcium from plaf, the best, without any elements, right? When we were doing selling the ocean water, we had some very interesting analyses done. And ocean water is like 90%, from my memory, sodium chloride, and the last 10% is all the other elements, which there's 90 that are found in nature in ocean water in a perfect, exact balance, identical profile to human blood. The only thing is human blood is about, I think, a third or a quarter strength diluted of what ocean water is, but it's the same mineral to mineral profile. If you put them side by side, they look the same. So you got mostly sodium chloride in there, and we were having some farmers do some tests on various plants, and then they would do an analysis on the control, and then they would do an analysis on the ones that were grown with the ocean water. And then you look at the mineral profile, and you see two completely different structures, right? Of course, the ocean water one tastes better, smells better, has more longer shelf life, the colors are more in depth, so on and so forth, and less problems with insects and so on and so forth. And all besides that, we would look, and then, for example, you look at selenium, and the selenium in the ocean-grown one would skyrocket. And the farmer goes, where the heck did this selenium come from? There's not that much selenium in ocean water. And this is where we're talking about transmutation, because the plant is able to use the sodium chloride and transmute it into itself. Going back to blueprint is what we've understood and found. So the plant would be able to correct itself when you give it that profile of ocean water. Isn't it amazing? We lost her. So that's what we found, and with many different elements. You're looking at it, and it had all kinds of, this selenium was one I remember. I can't remember all the other elements, but I lost all these tests and everything. I lost all my hard drives, which my backups and everything, so I don't have those anymore. But it's beautiful to see all that, and we if you're going to grow anything, it's supplement your plants and your fruit trees and everything with ocean water, diluted ocean water, and away you go. So with that said, we lost Barbara, and she was going to ask the question, but she can watch the recording. So we thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you back on the page. And next call is Wednesday, Facebook Live, 3:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ciao. Keep that plasma love always flowing.